Stacey the Black Feather Intuitive, and welcome to Divinely Decked Tarot and Oracle Reviews done Stacey style. And today it's another segment of blind deck dating. And I'm really excited to be exploring the pair, in this episode because I have gone with a kind of like a little bit of a fantastical creature deck and a very human deck. So without further ado, let's get this date started and see how these two get on. All right, so we have got the Creatures Tarot from Sarah Kathleen in the UK, and we have Kelly Sullivan Walden's Luminous Humanist Oracle cards. Very excited about putting these two cards together. I got the inspiration when I was, looking over what decks to pull for myself today for my own readings, and I thought, you know what, they might not on visually might not match entirely, but I bet their information and their messages and the guidance are going to be pretty unique. So yeah, that's why we're putting these two together. So let's kind of get these first impressions and see how they feel about each other on first blush. So obviously, as we're looking at one another, they're very, very different. They both are have that matte finish to them, which is really nice. This does not have a rose petal finish. This one does, more of a sateen, but there's no real, reflection or anything like that. Here we have a star in the center. We've got the galaxy energy, and the main focal color is pink. Here we have these beautiful, calm, flowing blues. They're both bright and elegant in their own right. They both respond with color. And what I'm noticing is there's a little bit of pink right here in the top corner. And I feel like there's some similarity there. So even though their styles are quite different already, just from the first impressions and first blush, there is a little bit of commonality. And I do feel that pink is the unconditional love, the self-love, self-care, self-compassion. So I think there's going to be something here. So let's introduce them and get them talking and see what commonality they may have. So beautiful. Here we have the Fool card. And the first thing I'm noticing here is the yellow of the sun really matches the entire golden energy of this card. So we have the Fool and we have backstroke through your river of gold. So the Fool card is all about, taking that leap of faith. Here we have a creature that's flying in the sky, flying over the trees. There's definitely some commonality here in the imagery with the trees. The trees are in the upper part of the oracle card. The trees are on the lower half of this card. So I do feel that, maybe they approach things from opposite, sort of ends of the spectrum. But there are commonalities in that regard. Here we have one creature featured, and here we have one human featured. And the human is looking up, and the creature is looking down. So I almost feel like it's like they're seeking each other, but maybe they're missing each other or have up to this point missed each other because they've got sort of their backs to one another right now, not necessarily seeing each other for who they are. All right, let's see what the next connection is going to be here. 10 of Cups, be the big one. Oh my goodness. So she's holding cups in her arm. I think that's really telling. Lots of commonality here, blue and blue. The blues are even very similar, a very similar hue. We've got the white birds in the sky and the white of the clouds. Here we have a lot of stardust and starlight coming through here. We have light from her heart that is also coming out in this regard. So I see a lot of commonality in that sense. We have one single figure looking down at a bunch of things in her arms. Here we have three figures that are looking out over all of the different cups that are available to them. So I feel like this deck maybe comes with family, comes with friends, is very social, wants to be out and about in the world. And if you're connecting with them, you're going to be connecting with their people. They're very people oriented. And this one here, not to say that this deck isn't necessarily people oriented or group oriented, but their focus right now is on the magic of what can become. They're working on their skill set. So I feel like, these two coming together, there are some similarities, but this one has kind of a different life purpose and mission than this one. Here we have the world and dancing in the parade. First of all, I love that we have this beautiful, the seed that is grown into the plant, and here she's grown. Now, they're kind of, there's some flow in opposite directions again, noticing that pretty consistently, that they go in different directions. This one has the beautiful star that is above it. This one, there's music that's almost like coming out of her hands. She's dancing in the parade. She's embracing and embodying the music. This one, I feel, is just starting to shine its light. So I feel like this deck is maybe finding itself, maybe is a little bit shyer on its own. And this one is very confident to be on its own. I don't know if it's going to support this, maybe bring some of this out. But I will say, like, there's green, and we've got the green in her dress. Not so much, like, there's a little bit of green, a hint of green, kind of following up and through into the music, mostly on the bottom of the card, and both of those green energies are on the card. So there's a lot of similarity here. I just don't know if it's going to be like that match made in heaven, or if it's going to be one of those things where you admire one another and you see a lot of the good in the other. There may just not be a ton of sort of a sustainable attraction. All right, let's see what we got here. 9 of Cups and the divine discombobulation. Interesting. So here we have the octopus with the 8 arms, the 8 tentacles. Divine discombobulation, we've got a lion and a lamb. So 2 opposites. So I feel like this deck really has a little bit of everything in it. The lion within them can also love the lamb. The lamb can tame the lion. They're in harmony here. I don't feel that there's a lot of jeopardy going on. So when we look at divine discombobulation, it's kind of like we're seeing a lot of things that don't kind of make sense, all put together in one picture, indicating that this deck has a lot of flexibility. It's also not afraid to look at chaos and to work with chaos. This cup is very ordered and organized. Those 10 tentacles could potentially get all caught up in one another, but there's order. There's order to it. And this deck wants that order. There's going to be a lot of that, I want to say, things in their place, and the guidance is going to be very clear cut. This direction, this deck is going to give you more to think about. This deck is going to encourage you to ask more questions, to do a little bit more of the work. This is more on the nose, and there's a little more work involved. All right, let's do one more first blush and see these first impressions. Here we have the Journey card, a beautiful card. This is one of the extra cards in the deck. And thy will be done. So here we've got a solo individual walking, up the hill, getting ready to go down a hill, to go back up a hill again. We've got a lot of green in the energy. So there's that healing, preferring to kind of travel maybe in the dark a little bit, even though the sun is bright. There's a lot of dark energy, not seeing things super clearly. Thy will be done. This one chooses to soar on the wings of eagles. This one chooses to be, I want to say, in a higher position, in a higher space, looking at the ground from high up to get the full perspective, the full picture. This one is very much present and in the moment with what it can see. More earth-based, more spiritual-based, or kind of airy-fairy pie in the sky, spiritually minded. Okay, I feel like we can have another drink. I think that's where we're at. Not appetizers, but I think we're getting ready to have another drink. So let's see where we're going with this. Okay, so the spark. What unique chemistry emerges when their voices blend? Let's see what comes out of this. Ooh, so we have the Wheel of Fortune. And turn up your radiance dial. Oh my goodness. Okay. So with this Wheel of Fortune, I feel like this deck brings unexpected surprise, brings a lot of like, I didn't know you had that in you, or oh my God, that was unexpected. I didn't think that you would be into that, or that you liked that, or you would even know what that was. And this deck, Turn Up Your Radiance Dial, I feel is feeling kind of electrified by the mystery that this one is. Now, we have a lot of light and a lot of dark imagery here. So I do feel that this could be a situation where opposites attract, where this deck is very curious about how this one shifts things up, how they follow their compass, and that their compass is always kind of shifting or changing. But I do feel like this one is interested in this one's light, because there's always something new and different going on. These cards are much busier than these cards here. So I feel like they're going to bring out a unique component in one another. I like that. Okay, here we have the clash. Where might their personalities challenge each other or cause tension? So here we have the Queen of Swords, very boundaried. Yes. I almost want to say maybe not even very flexible. Really not rigid per se, but very like clear cut. Like I said, this deck gives clear, concise information, and this one kind of flowers it up, kind of spiritualizes it. Ooh, I like the combination here, the colors. Narrow of your marrow. So when we're talking about the clash, this one I feel will pretty quickly walk away from anyone that kind of is rigid or will shut a person down. This one says, okay, you go do you. I'm going to just go and live in my own DNA. I'm going to go do my own thing, because I'm always going to be following the light. And you can always join me if you want, but I'm not here to pressure you or to force you into anything. And this one says, but I need you to honor my boundaries. And this one says, okay, I will. And then this one's like, oh, and now I'm alone again. I don't know if that's necessarily what I wanted. So I do feel like when you're working with these two decks, the guidance that's going to come out with the clash every once in a while is going to be kind of that there's no chase. There's no, I want to say like this one says one thing and then this one piggybacks on the other. No, this one could say, okay, I agree with you. And so I'm walking out the door. I'm checking out. That's kind of an interesting combination. I love that the imagery is so similar though, because I feel like that clash invites this particular deck combo to go a little deeper. Like with this, I might pull, actually, let's do it. We'll pull a clarification card, right? So we'll pull a clarification around this. Oh, look at that. The Lovers and the Fountain of Youth. So what this one really wants is togetherness. This one, from that, that clash perspective, really wants togetherness, but needs to have its own independence in its own way. This one is very independent and does its own thing, but absolutely can connect, can become part of the path and part of the group. So I feel like it's all in how they speak to one another. It's about communication. Oh, isn't that so interesting? So if you're going to be working with these decks, with these cards, I feel like it's important that you ask the right questions in order to be able to get the right answers. And don't be afraid to ask clarifying questions and to pull clarifying cards. Wow. The hidden layers. What unexpected truth does one bring out in the other? Seven of Swords. So a card of integrity, a card of strategy. I feel like this deck here, the Oracle is going to bring out the integrity of the Creatures deck, because the Creatures deck has a lot of integrity. Interesting. Warrior, not a worrier. Yeah, so this one is definitely going to encourage the Creatures Tarot to step into the light a little bit, to not be afraid to do the deep dive, to not waste the worry. The Seven of Swords, if it's an integrity situation, this guy is taking, these 5 swords, and we don't know exactly why he's taking them, but he's taking it in the under the cloak of night. There's a sneakiness here. This one says, no, don't waste the worry. Don't be sneaky. You don't have to hide anything. Let's just go for it. Like, if you want those swords, then take them, but take them in the light of day. Don't be sneaky. Bring everything to light. Bring everything to the surface. Don't worry about me judging you. Let's just worry about the issue that brought you to this point in the first place. And I feel like that's exactly how this card combination is going to work. I don't judge you, but I am going to call out what it is that's going on so that we can get to the heart of it. Ooh, I love that. I think that's really important in a card combo. When you have a deck that's going to call you out and be honest, but it's from that non-judgmental space. This is the future date potential. If these 2 cards continue to work together, what kind of guidance would they be co-creating? So here we have the 8 of Swords, entrapment, but on the other side of that is liberation, living and loving in the 5th dimension. So I feel like even after all of this, we can see that there's a lot of commonality. There's a desire for these 2 card decks to work together. Their energies are very synergistic. Even the coloring with these 2 cards is reflective of the other. We've got the orange and the black, and here she's not orange, but there's that skin tone energy and the white. So they're approaching things kind of from opposite sides, right? The reflection of one another. And I feel like this one is always going to stay in that high vibe energy. She's not necessarily going to step down into this level. She's going to ride her own wave. And if this one wants to join, awesome. And if this one doesn't want to join, awesome. She's going to kind of go and do her own thing. So in terms of future deck date potential, I feel that there is a lot of potential here. That opposites attract energy feels like it's working for this deck. If you're going to be working with these 2 cards in succession, be prepared for honesty to come out of this deck, even more so because this deck is shining the spiritual light on the why. And I feel like that's the energy, but it's doing it from that loving, non-judgmental place. So you can bring whatever issues you've got going on to this combo, and this combo is going to hold you in the light, hold you in the love, and give you exactly what you need to not only understand the situation, but to be able to move forward. So, oh yes, I definitely feel that this card combo has a future. And I do feel that there is a romantic pairing here because there's honesty at the core of it. It's pulling no punches. It's no bones about it. And quite honestly, isn't that what we want out of a card combo? We want to be received without judgment. We want to be able to understand the guidance, have it be clear cut, and know what direction to take, and also be given the different aspects of it, the darker or the shadow components of things, but also being shown the light and what it is ultimately on that spiritual level that we're here to learn and grow with. And I feel like this combo is exactly the combo that's going to make that happen. Wow, that is wholly unexpected. All right, guys, that is our blind deck date for this segment of Divinely Decked. As always, I'm always so excited to connect with you guys in this way. Please feel free to put your thoughts in the comments about this combination. I found this one really interesting, very, very unexpected. I kind of was like, all right, I don't think this is going to work, but we'll see what happens. And I'm pleasantly surprised and also really excited to do a reading. In fact, I've got some questions in my mind already. So until I see you for another episode of Black Feather Couture Divining a VIP Life, I am sending you lots of love, lots of support. We will see you on the flip side, and transform well. That's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. It was great to connect with you guys. Please like, subscribe, and comment for more content like this. And feel free to follow me on Blue Sky for even more content every single day. Can't wait to see you guys next week for another installment of Black Feather Couture Divining the VIP Life.